Bloodsport is one of the most badass martial arts movies ever made. This was Van Damme in his prime, kicking ass and spilling blood like an absolute savage. This movie pretty much kick-started his career, but it also perfectly represents the spirit of 80s martial arts movies. The whole thing is extremely stylized, dark, and has one of the most badass theme songs I've ever heard in a movie. When you hear it, you know the kumite is about to begin and that there's going to be some serious ass kicking.
Jean-Claude Van Damme. Bloodsport, the true story of the ultimate champion.
There was a time when Bloodsport felt like the most intense thing you could watch on a worn-out TV. You'd rent the tape or catch it playing on cable way too late, volume low, so no one heard you still being awake. The static would clear and suddenly you were in Hong Kong watching Van Damme do splits, train ninjutsu, and fight some of the most hardcore enemies in something that felt more like a ritual rather than a tournament. What I love so much about this movie is that it puts most of its attention and energy into the fight scenes and the atmosphere rather than the story. I mean, if we're perfectly honest, the story here feels more like an afterthought, just like the most 80s cheesy romance they decided to include. But that's fine and not an issue at all, because the story really only serves to get the characters from one place to the other, explain some lore, and build the atmosphere. The movie is very straightforward, and that's part of why it hits so hard. It doesn't waste time explaining every little thing or giving you a deep plot. It sets the tone fast and perfectly builds the mystery around the kumite. It's real, it's brutal, and Frank Dukes is going to fight in it. This tournament has almost no rules and allows you to not only crush your opponent's bones, but also beat them to death. And this is honestly where the movie shines the most, because goddamn, are these fights amazing as hell. I mean, the 80s were experiencing a boom when it came to action and fighting movies, and Asian fighting styles were getting more and more popular due to the success of the Karate Kid movies, which also caused plenty of fun and not so fun B-movies to lean heavily into this world. There's a few of these low-budget productions that were actually really good, and even a lot of the not so good movies often had some redeeming qualities and became cult classics.
For 2,000 years, the sacred art of the ninja has been guarded in the East.
Remember the day I found you.
Now, it has come to the West. The deadliest art of the Orient is now in the hands of an American. American Ninja.
Bloodsport originally started out as a B-movie. I mean, it was literally made by the Cannon Film Group, which was notorious for producing low to mid-budget B-movies, many of which are actually really good.
Society is breeding a new kind of criminal. It's also breeding a new kind of cop.
All along you knew it wasn't right. You were spending time losing sight.
Stallone is a cop called Cobra. The strong arm of the law.
High above the streets of Los Angeles, he must fight the killer who was once a friend. Ancient Japanese warfare explodes in America. It's the ultimate martial arts adventure. No one can survive. The Revenge of the Ninja. Revenge of the Ninja.
And the crazy thing is that it holds up really well, despite the fact that no one expected this to be successful at the time, especially when comparing it to other martial arts movies. Bloodsport is much darker, bloodier, and realistic. Of course, it still has all the classic 80s tropes and cliches, and there's zero doubt in my mind that Jean-Claude was coked out of his mind when filming this, just like the rest of the cast. But it's not as over the top as a lot of other 80s action movies tended to be. The fight scenes are shot in a way that feels more personal, and they definitely try to be as brutal as they can. Bones get broken, blood flies all over, and these fighters are savage beasts that want to win no matter what. When Chong-Li starts beating everyone, you feel this intense power and energy from him. No yelling, no chaos, just that smirk and those eyes that say you're not walking out alive. And that's exactly what makes him such a scary and intimidating villain. The only time his face shows an expression is when he's demolishing his opponents and either cripples them for life or straight up kills them.
Time to separate the men from the boys.
Just be careful Chong-Li doesn't separate your head from your body.
You are next.
Of course, that doesn't stop Van Damme just showing up at the kumite like he owns the place after getting trained in the art of ninjutsu. Unlike a lot of other action movie characters, he doesn't act like a tough guy or like he's been hiding out in the jungle for too long. He's calm and calculated, and he knows that everyone is underestimating him, which he uses to his advantage to whoop some ass while synth beats harmonize with the fighting. I mean, seriously, the soundtrack of this movie is not only iconic, but also captures the spirit of the 80s and martial arts movies perfectly. It's raw and brutal, but it definitely stays in your head for a while. This is easily one of the best movie themes ever made.
On fire, given strength by the breath of life. I fight to survive.
To me, Bloodsport will always be one of the most badass movies ever made. The acting and the story are not good at all, but the choreography, soundtrack, and overall aesthetic, atmosphere, and vibe of this movie are what really makes it so amazing.